Hello and a very happy Friday to you from Radically Rational and RadicallyRational.com. Okay, we'll start on the sports side. In my opinion, it was not a perfect solution to the Deshaun Watson problem. A perfect solution to me would have been that certainly I think what he did warranted a full season suspension at least. But as a practical matter, you weren't going to get that. So I can live with what they came up with, and I think it's good that it was the result of a settlement between the NFL and the NFLPA. That's good that they were able to work together to some degree. We didn't need that to go back to arbitration, and we certainly did not need additional litigation. So it's an 11-game unpaid suspension, so he misses 11 game checks. And beyond that, he gets fined $5 million, which is a little more than a parking ticket for sure. So it changes things for Deshaun Watson, but it really changes things for the Cleveland Browns. Had the suspension remained at 6 games, even if you go 2-4 to start the season, you're not eliminated. But now that that's an 11-game suspension, let's say they go 4-7, and at that point, particularly in that division, that is the end of them. So that changes the way the Browns have to approach the season. So now do they go after Jimmy G? We'll have to see. And how delicious is it that when Deshaun Watson gets back, his first game is in Houston against the Texans. You starting to think this Brady thing is a little weird? I am. I know they said they talked their way through this, that it was pre-planned, but initially he was going to be back on Monday after the team's second preseason game. Now that doesn't look certain, so I just wonder what's going on here. Now, it's not going to retard Brady's preparation. He's Tom Brady, but it is going to slow down the chemistry with that new offense and them getting to know Brady and vice versa. And remember, they got new receivers in Julio Jones and Kyle Rudolph. So that could become a little bit of an issue for the Buccaneers. I'll tell you who does have an issue at quarterback. That's the Seattle Seahawks. Drew Lock has COVID, and reportedly he is really sick. And I'm sure that Geno Smith, is really sick of not getting supported. He didn't get a lot of help last night against the Bears, and in fact banged his knee, so maybe they've got a problem as well. On the other hand, I've been critical of Justin Fields. I didn't think he was getting it at all last year, but he is making progress, and that's a really good thing. Too bad the Astros couldn't put some runs in the bank. 21 runs in burying the White Sox. Bregman goes crazy, 2 homers, 2 doubles, 6 RBIs. And nice rally by the Astros to break even in that 4-game series after dropping the first 2. Now tonight, we start a weekend series, a rematch of the World Series in Atlanta against the Braves. Lance McCullers Jr. gets his second start of the season after coming back from that arm trouble. That's kind of exciting for sure. Okay, now, the other thing. Trump's lies and deflections. And that is his MO. It's not only his go-to move, it's his only move. Lie and deflect. First, you're complaining about the way the search was conducted. That's invalid. It was done completely by the book. If anything, it was done with unusual deference to the former president. And let me remind you that it was Trump himself who disclosed it in the first place. It was not the FBI. It was not the DOJ. Then we go through this ridiculous stuff about he just waved a magic wand and declassified all of this stuff. Well, first, you can't do that. But secondly, he didn't attempt to do it. 18 people in Trump's inner political circle went on the record yesterday, used their names, and said that never happened. He never referenced that. One of them said it was a total falsehood. Another said it was ridiculous. And yet a third said it was, quote, bullshit. All right, so now we're going through this is all politically motivated. Why? So because we have a Democrat president, and because, we've got the earlier interaction with Merrick Garland, that means you can't look into anything? I mean, wouldn't that give the president a blank check? If anytime he did anything, you could not investigate it, and anything you did would be labeled politically motivated. Once again, Trump doing what he does best, moving the burden of proof. It is not up to the government to prove that this was not politically motivated. It's up to you to prove that it was. Just like it was on you to prove that the election was stolen from you. It was not, the burden of proof was not on others to prove that it was not. That's just not the way we do things around here. Now, let's go with what we do know. The term they're using is willful retention of national defense information. Okay? I wouldn't describe that as a trifling thing. You know, the cultists want to write everything off to no big deal. I would say this is a big deal. And again, let's go with what we know. There are things we don't know yet that we will discover, but here's what we know. He illegally obtained and removed government documents. That's a fact. Okay, so criminality has been established. Now we're just trying to find out to what extent criminal activity was conducted and to what impact on this country. But when we're talking about willful retention of documents that relate to national defense and could be in violation of the Espionage Act, that's not a trifling thing. And you cannot call that no big deal. We've established that he did things that were against the law. He's trying to deflect your attention from everything else. Go with what you know. The core issue is that he willfully and illegally obtained and removed government documents. That's a fact, and it's a fact that that's a crime. Enjoy your weekend. We are radically rational.